Which of the following is more likely to be stabilized by resonance? Now, the correct answer to this question is this. This can be stabilized by resonance. What is resonance? Say resonance is what? The localization of pi electrons. Okay, this is CH2 plus. This can be stabilized by resonance. This formula you are seeing here, C6H5, is a phenyl ring, which is this ring here. Are we getting it? This ring here is the C6H5, is the phenyl ring, then attached to what? CH2. This can be stabilized by resonance. How? We say resonance is what? The localization of what? Of electrons. Okay, this is the localization of electrons. So this one that you see here, okay, maybe I didn't draw. Okay, I drew it well. This one that you see here, you have CH2 plus. This bond can move upward. As it's moving, these ones are what? They are moving. This one, they are what? They are moving. And like that it will rotate. So this can be stabilized by resonance. This is the correct answer to this question wherever you see it. Now this one is telling you that you have 3 phenyl rings attached to a carbon plus. It's something like this, which is, I don't think is something that you would even want to see. This carbon, then this is another phenyl ring, and then this is another phenyl ring. Forget about the way I drew it, but it's another phenyl ring. Okay, so we have 3 phenyl ring, then carbon plus here. This cannot be stabilized by what? By resonance. Okay, the correct answer is this. Wherever you see this question, correct answer is C6H5CH2. That can be stabilized by resonance. The next question. The following are correct about the 3-dimensional representation of organic compound. Following are correct about the 3-dimensional representation of organic compound. This bond represents a bond projecting out of the paper towards the observer. B, this bond here, this line, represents a bond projecting out of the paper from the observer. This represents a bond lying in plain paper, and this represents a bond projecting out of the paper towards the observer. Now the correct answer is this. This represents a bond projecting out of the paper from the observer. From the observer. Almost all of them here, they are actually correct, but this is correct. Represent a bond projecting out of the paper from the observer. Let me check the question if it was rightly typed. So basically, I think this question is supposed to be which the following are correct about the 3-dimensional representation of organic compound, except, maybe they gave the question wrongly, except. Okay, and then the correct answer should not be this, because this is correct. This represents a bond projecting out of the paper towards an observer. This is correct. This represents a bond lying in plane. This is correct. Then this represents a bond projecting out of the paper towards the observer. This is not correct. Now in some cases you will see something like this. Let's say you see a carbon, they will put a carbon there, and then you will see let's say hydrogen coming here. Then you see let me use the dotted line for hydrogen. You see dotted line, hydrogen, and then you see another group here, something like, let's say H2O, and then you see the normal plane, let's say CH3, and then finally another normal plane, CH3. Now if you see a compound like this I was giving to you, this bond represents what? A bond projecting out of the plane of paper towards the observer. This represents a bond projecting out of the paper from the observer, and this represents, now this one is different from this. You can see the differences here. This one is something that is just straight, why this one is having, let's say, some is like this. Maybe the drawing is making it to look somehow. Okay, this is how it's supposed to be. Okay, so these are all correct, but this is not correct, and hence we are looking for the one that is not correct, which is incorrect. So we can say that the correct answer to this question is this. Okay, that's the correct answer to this question. Now let's look at the next. The next question says the following are true about nucleophile except. The following are true about nucleophile except. Nucleophiles are electron rich species. Nucleophiles are what? They are electron rich species. They are electron rich species. Okay, now if we say that nucleophiles are electron rich species, that is to say they have many electrons and hence they can donate. So they said except, now they said they are electron deficient. This is wrong. Nucleophiles are what? Electron rich, and since it's wrong, that should be the correct answer to that question. Now they are electron surplus species. Yes, that is correct. Nucleophile electron surplus. They are partially positive centers in organic compound. That is true, because they are negatively charged. They are attached what? Positively partial positive centers in organic compound. They can donate electrons in compound. That is correct. They are electron rich, so they can donate. Okay, so the one that is not correct is this that says that they are electron deficient. The nucleophiles are electron rich species and the electrophiles are the electron deficient species. Electrophiles are electron deficient. Okay, nucleophiles are electron rich. Now, the scientist that discovered that organic compound can be prepared in the laboratory is Frederick Wohler. He discovered that urea can be prepared from what? Ammonium cyanide. This is urea. Discovered that urea can be prepared from what? Ammonium cyanide. Okay, under the influence of heat. Okay, so the scientist that discovered that organic compounds can be prepared in the laboratory is Frederick Wohler. He disproved a theory that is called the theory of vitalism. Disproved a theory that's called the theory of vitalism. We'll discuss about vitalism in later chapters. Now, the name of the compound is now the first thing is, note that the ring is your longest continuous chain. Now you start your naming from where the functional group is, and the functional group present here is a ketone functional group. General formula of the ketone is arrow. Whenever you see C double bond O, then arrow group and arrow group. For this cyclic compound, wherever you see anything like this, a cyclo compound there with oxygen anywhere, that is what? A ketone. Okay, so if I have, let's say I have this compound like this, this is a ketone. Cyclobutanol is a ketone. Okay, it's a ketone. So this is the ketone functional group. We are going to name it or start numbering from where the functional group is. This will be position 1. Now we get to, or we count to the direction that we get to the substituent first. If we count from this direction, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. You saw that we got to the substituent at position number 5. But if we should count this way, what are we going to have? We have 1, here will be what? 2, and here will be what? 3. So you see, from this direction we got to it at 3, from this direction we got to it as what? 5. Hence this is not the way to number. We number from this way. So we have 3, 4 and what? 5. And then this compound, the name will be, first of all, name the substituent. What is this substituent? That's 1 carbon here and 2 carbon. So from here to here is the substituent, and it is an ethyl substituent. So what position is the ethyl substituent? It's at position number 3 on the this number 3, sorry, my numbering is having comma. This number 3, and here will be what? 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so this substituent is at position number 3. So this become 3. Then the group is ethyl, the substituent. Then this group is cyclohexane, so you call it cyclohexane. Now the alkanones or the ketones are named by removing the O, the E of the alkane, and then representing it with ONE. So the name of this compound is 3-ethyl cyclohexanone. 3-ethyl cyclohexanone, and that is option C. That's the name of the compound. Now let's go to the next. Now the structure of 1-ethyl 3-propyl cyclohexane is, the structure of 1-ethyl 3-propyl cyclohexane is, now this is already out because this one is having methyl, 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 so this is out. This is already out too because it's having methyl, methyl, methyl. there's ethyl substituent, so this is out. Now this is ethyl group, and this is what? Ethyl group. We have one ethyl and then what? Propyl. So we are supposed to have propyl as a substituent, so this is out. Now this should be the correct answer. Let's name it. If here is position number 1, ethyl, here will be what? 2, here will be what? 3, here will be 4, here will be 5, here will be 6. So this compound, you name it as 1, E come before P, so you call it 1 ethyl. Then what position is the propyl group? This propyl 1, 2, 3, that's 3 carbon as a substituent, so you call it propyl. So 1 ethyl, 3 propyl, 3 propyl cyclohexane, 1 ethyl, 3 propyl cyclohexane. Okay, so that's the answer to that question. Now let's go to the next. The next question says the number of sp2 hybridized carbon atom in the compound is. The number of sp2 hybridized carbon atom in the compound is. First of all, sp2 hybridized carbon atoms are those carbon atoms that have 2 sigma bond, and then let me use this symbol to represent sigma, and then 2 pi bond. So for us to identify that, now one of the major pointers to actually identifying this is that that particular group carbon must have a double bond. At least it should have a double bond, or should have a double bond. So we are going to break this compound down. If we break this compound down, what are we going to have? You have this carbon here bonded to this carbon. This carbon is doubly bonded. Are we getting it? I think there's supposed to be oxygen here to what? To oxygen. Then we have this carbon here doubly bonded to another carbon, to carbon, to carbon, to nitrogen, doubly bonded to carbon. Are we getting it now? And then we have carbon and what? Carbon here. That is the structure. Let me bring it out in a more in a way that you understand better. Or let me just use this one to illustrate. Now there's a carbon here, okay? There's another carbon here. There's a 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 carbon here. Every of these points that you see that are covered are what? Carbon, carbon, carbon. Okay? Now this carbon here is having 3. It's supposed to have 4 bonds because the valency of carbon is what? 4. But it's having just 1. So how do we complete it? Is by adding 3 hydrogen to it. Okay, this one is having how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bonds around it. We don't need to add. This one is having how many? 1, 2, 3. So this one is 4. This one will add 1 also to make it 4. This one will add how many? 2. Okay, this one will add 1. This one will add 2, and then this one will add 3 to make it 4. Finally, here you add 1, and here you add 3. Okay, so this group you are seeing here now, what will be the sp2 carbons? Now look at the carbons with double bonds. They are usually the sp2 carbons. They will tell you the pointer. So this is sp2, so we have 1 here. Now this carbon here is another sp2, so we have 2 here. This carbon here is another what? sp2, so we have 3 carbons here. Now this carbon here is another sp2, so we have what? 4. This one is sp3, 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 so we have a total of what? Of 4 sp2 carbon, and that makes that the correct answer to that question. So I believe we'll draw the curtain here. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button. I guess you enjoyed your stay with me. Thank you, and God bless you.